All right, we're going to start this lesson off with a vocab word. So go make sure that you are on the vocab page. The last vocab word you should have done is numerical coefficient. And today we will be doing linear relation. So a linear relation is just a relation whose plotted points lie in a straight line. So basically any type of pattern that is constantly increasing or decreasing in a straight line. So I'm going to do the factor characteristic next here. They can be, like I said, increasing or decreasing. Now, any algebraic equation should just naturally create a linear equation because it's constantly the same except for one number that is changing. So for your example, just draw a really quick graph here with 0 at the corner. We'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the bottom. And then going up on the y-axis, let's just do 1 to 10. It doesn't need to be perfect. So for the equation 2x equals y, that means 2 times x is going to give you the number on the y-axis. So if x is y, 2 times 1 is 2, so 1 would be at 2 there. So 1 over 2 up. Then if x was 2, 2 times 2 is 4, so you would go 2 over 4 up. Then when x equals 3, 3 times 2 is 6, so 3 over 6 up. I think you start to see the pattern here. 4 times 2 is 8, so 4 over 8 up, and then 5 over 10 up. And see how with that equation, we didn't change the equation at all, we just changed the x value, and it created a straight linear line. And there will usually be a diagonal because they're increasing or decreasing. And we don't really have a non-example there, so you can make your own up. All right, so then flip to the lesson 9.4, linear relations and their graphs. Let's see if I can get that a little closer for you. All right, so in this example, they have, again, 4 different figures, and we're counting the number of paving stones, which are these triangles, and the number of border pieces. So these little, they almost look like toothpicks around the outsides. And they've already created your table of values for you, and you just need to fill it out. So in figure 1, there's 1 paving stone, and around it, you can see there are 6 border pieces. Then for 2, there are 2 paving stones, 8 border pieces, 3 paving stones here, 10 border pieces, 4 paving stones here, and then you need to count the number of border pieces, or it says it right there, so if you can read, you can figure it out. There are 12 border pieces. So what kind of pattern do you see here? It's going up by 2s on the bottom. So you should be able to just fill this out by counting up by 2s. So 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. Then all they're asking you to do here is to graph this relation. So we need to go back to graphing and go over a few basics here. Every graph needs to have titles. And let's write some steps down at the bottom because there won't be enough room in between. So step 1 is to complete the table of values like we've just done. Step 2 is to label graph. And that graph needs to be labeled with titles and values. Step 3 is going to be to plot the points. So if we are looking at our graph, the first thing that we're going to do is come up with a title. So we're just going to call this one Paving Stone Borders. It doesn't need to be anything creative. You can make it anything that has to do with what you're graphing. Then you also need to label the X and Y axis. So I'm going to put. All right, we are on lesson 9.2. My last video was like. Okay, sorry about that. So we're talking about the X axis now. I'm going to put the number of paving stones at the bottom. So I'm going to start by labeling it with my title. And then depending on what your numbers are up here, that's going to tell you what values you're going to go up by. So if I'm looking at the number of paving stones here, I only have to go up to 8 and I need it for each one. So I'm going to go up by ones here. So starting with 0 on the corner, I'm going to just label all my values up to 8. Then the y-axis, we're going to do the other part of the table, so number of border pieces. So if we look back at our table again, our border pieces start at 6 and they go up by 2s. So with that in mind, we should be able to go up by 2s here. Now I'm going to give you a little shortcut here so you don't have to start right at 2. It wouldn't be that bad going to 6, but say that your first number was 20. You don't need to go all the way from 0 to 20 by counting by 2s. If you start at 0 and just do a little squiggly line like that, that's called a line break. And then you can go right to the number that you want to start with. So I'm going to start at 6 there, and then I'm going to start going up by 2s. So once I've done this line break, I still need to go up by the same value. But other than that, I don't need to write all the way from 0 to 6. So we're going to start here and then just do 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. Then step 3 was to plot our points. So we're going to go ahead and plot them with X being the number of paving stones and Y being the number of border pieces. So with 1 paving stone, we have 6 border pieces. With 2 paving stones, we have 8. With 3, we have 10. With 4, we have 12. 5 with 14. 6 with 16. 7 with 18. And 8 with 20. And you see that pattern right away. These should be really fast and simple for you to plot. And then step 4 here is to connect the dots. And what that will do is if you actually use a ruler, I don't actually have one with me here, but if you draw your straight line through your corners there, you don't even have to use your equation to figure out your answer. If it asks you how many borders pieces are going to be in figure 12, you can look on here, extend your graph a little, and then just go up here and figure out what your number would be. So this would be 22, 24, 26, and 28. So from my graph, I can tell at figure 12, there's going to be 28 pieces. So there will be some times, and I think there's one question on the test that asks you to figure out the number of pieces depending just on your graph. So without using an equation, by looking at your graph, you should be able to figure out where the pattern's going to take you and where that point will lie for each figure number. Okay, and that's that for that video. Your textbook work will be on the board, and have a great math class.